a difficult conversation. If you are somebody's health, well, first of all, you want to make sure somebody, if it's, let's say, your parent, and you want to make sure they have a healthcare proxy. You can just say, well, I'm signing this for myself, and do you have one of these? And, well, if I'm going to be your healthcare proxy, I need to know what you think about this. And just know the first few conversations, you're probably going to be thwarted. We don't need to talk about this. Why are you bringing that up? Just take me out with the garbage, whatever. You need to push it to the next level. And thus why it's good to do this sooner rather than later, because it takes a long time to have this conversation. And then when you can really open that door, find out not just what do they think about dying, what of the deaths they've seen were good deaths and bad deaths, and what was good and bad about them, and what would be unimaginable to them, and what would be comforting to them. When they were in their sickest moment in their life, what was comforting to them? Some people like to be touched, some people don't. Some like music, some like, whatever. So learn all this about them, but also, what do they fear? What do they believe about death? What are their worries? What are their desires? Practical matters. What, insurance information or their computer password or the key to the safety deposit box. I mean, there's many things to discuss, and the more the better. I think it's a conversation none of us want to have. We all dread it. We all know we should have it, but we put it off. But I have found that when you have it, and when you really open the door, and when you really listen to somebody, it is the most intimate conversation you can have. There's tears, of course, but there's laughter. You will find out things about this person that you've known for 50, 60 years that you never knew before. And it will lead you down all sorts of paths of real intimacy. And you will be so glad you had them for many reasons beyond sort of how they die, but just getting to know somebody. And then keep that conversation going. You can't just have it once. It's a conversation that needs to be revisited as situations change, as scenarios change. And I would also just tack on to that talking bit. Once somebody's ill, it's really important to force the doctor to kind of help you see what lies ahead and what scenarios are possible and what decisions might you have to make and how might you make those decisions as an illness progresses. It's been my experience that a lot of doctors don't want to have this conversation. Again, none of the ones in this room, but it's not. You may have to push, but you need to know. Well, why would we do that? And how does this disease? Where is it going to take us? And what kinds of things will come up, so that you can discuss that fully with everyone. The next thing I want to talk about is some of the obstacles that get in the way. Because as I was looking at why do we die so poorly, and the lack of preparation and talking was the main thing, I did keep hearing these common refrains of why things went awry. And I would say, well, these are in no particular order, but hope is a big one. It would seem that hope is a great thing, and hope is a great thing, and everybody wants to have hope. But what I think happens is that we are so focused on keeping the patient hopeful that people don't want to talk about what's really going on. In fact, I found that people are often treated only to give them hope. And that sounds ridiculous, but I've actually heard it numerous times from doctors, when I'd say, well, why are you doing this for this patient? Well, we have to keep her hopes up. That's deception. That's not hope. And I think we have to be clear on what hope is. Knowing that you're terminally ill does not mean you lose hope. People who are extremely sick or know that they're dying, have hope on many different levels and hope for very different things. Early on when they maybe first get a diagnosis, they're going to hope that their doctor actually didn't go to medical school and has no idea what he's talking about. They're going to hope that this is not their folder and somebody else's and he's read the wrong patient file. They're going to hope this is just a big mistake. They're going to hope then for a cure. But as the disease progresses, they may just hope to live to a certain date, till Christmas, till a son gets married, till a grandchild's born, whatever it is. They may hope to keep certain functions, to keep their mobility, to keep their ability to care for themselves in certain ways. They may hope to make amends, to speak to somebody they haven't spoken to in a long time. And as they get closer to the end, people generally hope to not be in pain. They hope to be loved. They hope to be forgiven. They hope to be remembered. And finally, they hope that their life was worthwhile. So I don't think we should be afraid of somebody knowing or that it being out there that this is terminal, because it doesn't kill hope, and deception doesn't add to their spiritual well-being. Having said that, I would not, I really don't want to keep you here till morning. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the time. Having said that, I don't also think you need to force the truth on somebody. You don't need to force it on them, but I think you ask questions, see where they are, what their understanding is, listen to them, be willing to be where they are in this, because otherwise it's very isolating. Patients are often feel very isolated because everyone has this whole big sort of realm of hope, and then the patient is now trying to keep their hopes up, and so the patient's actually accepting treatments they don't want because they think the family needs the hope. And I talked to a lot of people who said they would never, discuss terminal illness or death or how they're going to die with somebody, and then I talked to the actual patient and they said, well, I can't discuss it with her, she doesn't want to discuss it, and there's this whole big game that goes on. I can tell you that patients know. At least 9 times out of 10, patients know long before anybody else knows. And I also want to say that sometimes hope jumps back and forth. So, like those tap dancers going up and down stairs, it's not like a continuum. You can hope one day for one thing and hope another day for something else. And just because somebody says to you, I think next summer I'm going to learn how to surf, it doesn't mean they're just like out of their minds, don't get what's going on. It just means this is a fun fantasy for the moment and just, live it with me. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, I might like to learn to surf too, or whatever. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, Dad doesn't know what's going on. He thinks he's going to be surfing next summer. It's just part of, you have to just go where they are. The other obstacle I saw constantly, I called, where is there? We wait for there. I heard endless numbers of people saying to me, well, we're not there yet. So if you discuss the idea of hospice, or you discuss the idea of, is that really a treatment you want, or where are you headed with this? Well, we're not there yet. Many of the people I talked to who said that to me, actually this person died within 24 or 48 hours of that conversation of not being there. I think people have an image of Terri Schiavo and that there's going to be this moment when okay, we're done with this and now we're going to this. There's no black and white line between, okay, this is now treatment that's worthwhile and now it's futile and now it's time to change. As I said before, it's all percents and odds. It's really maybe in the last few decades that medicine has changed so much that we're not just deciding, is life viable? We are deciding if life is desirable. We are deciding, is this the way they want to live their life? We are playing God. So instead of thinking, is this the moment, we have to think from the beginning, why are we doing this treatment? What is the goal of this treatment? Are we trying to extend life? Are we trying to increase some function, make them so they can walk or whatever? Are we trying to make them more comfortable? How long are we going to do this treatment for? Because each step of the way, you're making a decision, it's not just one decision at one moment of